In this video, we start working on the gig controller and create actions for user to create a new gig. Now first, inside the terminal, I'm going to create the controller by saying Rails generate controller and controller name gigs, and we add the action for new, create, edit, update, and show, and no text framework. Alright, so next up, we're going to open the config and browse the RB. Alright, and you can clearly see that Rails just automatically create this one for it, but we no need for this one. And in fact, I'm gonna say resources gigs. Right, just like that. And actually, I'll just put this one on the top. All right, cool. Now, what's happening with this? Now, remember, whenever you just say resources gigs, it's gonna regenerate the standard path for you, including new, create, update, destroy, etc. Remember that. I can open a tab for here. And if you say Rails browse, hit enter, it just create a different browser for us. So let me just scroll up here and looking for gigs. All right, here we go. So can you see that? For the gig create, it's gonna be new gig get new and edit gig get. All right, gigs ID and edit, etc. So it's very standard. So I just delete this one. All right, so next we're going to F controllers and gig controllers. All right, so it just generates 5 actions that we need to working on. All right, so down here, let's start with some private action first. Private action. So here I'll just create the first one. Let's start with the gig params first. So inside here, I'll say params dot required gig, and I'm going to permit the first one should be title and video active category ID, and maybe has single price, and then we got the pricing. Right, so for the pricing, I'll just say pricings attributes. All right, now we can say the pricing attributes because inside our gig model, remember, we say accept nested attribute. So for this, we can define pricing attributes. So here I'm going to pass ID, title, description, maybe delivery time, and price, and the last one is the pricing type. All right. Cool. Now make sure that you got a comma at the end so that you can break it down into the second line. All right. Now just create another method. Let's say for the set gig, we just create a new variable named gig, and we're going to say gig.find, and we're going to pass a params, which is ID. All right. And another one, we call that is authorized. All right, so you're gonna say redirect to the maybe the root path with an alert saying you do not have permission, something like that, unless the current user.id equal add gig.user ID. Alright. So basically this method is just check if the current user ID is the owner of the gig by comparing the current user ID equal gig.user ID. Then you have the permission to come to here to update, create, or edit, or something like that. Otherwise, if you're not the owner of this gig, it will redirect you to the root path and saying, hey, you do not have permission. Alright, now up here, so first we're going to say before action, the first thing you want to do is authenticate user, and we're going to do that except the show. Alright, so we're going to run the authenticate user function before you run any action down below except the show, because the show is public for anyone, so anyone can see it without logged in. Okay, the next one we're going to say before action, you're going to run the set gig. Alright, and accept the new and create. Right, so for the new and create, you don't need to set the gig because you only need that for the edit, update, and the show. Because only those three need to get the gig from a database based on the ID they pass through. If you want to edit the gig, you need to know the gig's ID. Alright, the same thing with show. If you want to show a gig, you need to know the gig ID. So that means before you run the edit, you need to run this one first to get the gig object. Alright, and the last one is before action is authorize. Okay, just copy this one. Is authorized, and we do that only for the edit and the update action. Now there's one important thing I should mention, that make sure you have the set gigs. You got this line before this line, all right? Because inside is authorized, you need to know the add gig first. If you put this one on the top of set gig, then it will raise an error because it doesn't know where the add gig come from. Okay, now the last thing we want to do is we're going to do the gig inside here. First, I'm going to create a new gig variable, and it's going to be equal current user dot gig gigs.view. Alright, so that's mean with this we just create a new gig object and reference to the current user, and after that just create categories variable and it's going to be category.o. Alright, so we're going to get all of the categories that we have inside the database and put it into this variable, because in later state inside the front end we're going to display all the categories. Alright, now for the one we also create a gig equal current user dot gigs dot build, and this time we're going to pass a gig params, because this one is the post method, this one is just get method. We didn't submit anything here, so for this one we're going to submit the form. Along with that is all the information via params. That's why we add the gig param in here. And also we're going to say if we can save the gig successfully inside the database, we can do something, otherwise we do something else. So in this case, if the gig saved successfully, we also want to create the pricings and dot create. So let me just stop here and bring this one a little bit. So here is the database structure of the pricing table. Now once you create a new gig and a new gig is saved into the database, we're going to generate 3 records for that gig inside the pricing table for presenting 3 different pricing type: basic, standard, and premium. All right, at first it's going to be empty, all right, just the pricing type of 0, 1, 2. Okay, so how can we do that? Here's a way. We're going to say pricing types, make sure that you got the S at the end. Now, even though this one is say pricing type only, okay, and here you're going to say values dot map. So just you just got the pricing type from the, if you go into the motor pricing, here is the one, okay. Now let's go back here and we're going to say map. So for every single element inside here, we're going to say pricing type X. All right, and then we redirect to the edit gig path, and we're going to pass a gig object, and we just say notice save it. All right, something like that. Now otherwise, if for some reason it's not working, so we're going to redirect to the certain page, which go refer with the flash, and we're going to say error at gig dot errors dot full messages. All right, so basically we just redirect to the current page, and we're going to display the flash message. So normally is I'm going to use the flash with error full message in the development mode to see what went wrong exactly. When you go to the production, obviously you should have something like, hey, something wrong, or etc., something friendly. Okay, so the controller is now ready. Next, we will create our view with the form so that user can create a gig by submitting the form in the front end. Now that's what we do in the next video.